Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Does my mic sound better? Hopefully it sounds better because it's been sounding like absolute garbage for the last couple days and I don't know why. So hopefully it sounds better? Question mark? I don't know. Hi, Trem. Hi, JJ. Hey, Nix. And hello, Driver. Welcome in, guys. I know I said I was going to take some time off from streaming, but I literally sat at my computer and I was so fucking bored. So I was like, you know what? I'll just stream. Plus, like, I don't know. I guess I don't want to be alone. Hey, Laz. Welcome in. How are you? Alright, so, we've had a blood moon, so let's just let that go. Laz, how was your day? Sorry, I was drinking. I'm drinking, chat. I'm drinking. I'm just waiting for this blood moon. And then we've got some stuff to do. Some Koroks to find. Koroks are gonna be a pain. How many do we have? Does it say? I'm glad you went live. I'm glad I went live too. What you drinking? Guys, listen, don't judge me. It's 9:15 at night and I'm drinking the new Strawberry Dream Monster. This is why I can't sleep. To be fair, it's leftover from earlier. It's left over from earlier. It's left over. Where's my blood moon? There it is. Oh, there's a star right there. And here, I thought it was an adult beverage. No. I could go get one. I have a, I have one of those, like, those Simply lemon lemonades. Know what I mean? Okay. Here's our blood moon. I'm fine. I was at work in the morning as usual. Took a nap during Bro's stream even though I didn't want to. And now I'm making some food. What are you having? Nah, mean. Driver, I am a little, tiny little obsessed with Diablo. It's fun. It's more fun than I thought it would be. I guess I'm not obsessed. I don't really like the movement. Like, I don't like point and click. Like, I don't like point and click games. So that's like, ugh, annoying. But it's very similar to ESO other than that. Are we gonna play together? I don't know. I have to like play with my crew first. But our schedules have not aligned. Alright, what are we doing? Are all of... I think all of these ones are done for now. I think I have some up here. No, I think I literally think I've done everything. Like, I think I've done all of the ones I'm supposed to do so far. Alright, let's look at our adventure log. Ooh, this one was hard. I'm playing some Diablo 2 either, since I got it. Ooh, really? Did you end up getting it, Laz? Yeah, once I've played with my crew, like, once I've played with, like, you know, my crew of people that I play with all the time, then I'm definitely, like, I'm definitely down for playing with other people, but I just, for, like, the sake of, you know, the sake of them, I have to play with them first. But yeah, I'm down. I'm definitely down. I have one character so far. Friendship greater than chat, heard. I mean, you know, starting some new characters never hurts a lot of us either. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So, like, I could definitely start another character with like, some more people. I don't think I'll stream it, though, because I've heard and I've seen some people having issues with it on stream. So I might not stream it, but I might be down to, like, play on the weekends or something, you know? Okay. This one was hard. I don't know where this one is. So it's gotta be... Oh, I bet it's, like, literally right here. I'm playing my hardcore neck. Really? I don't know if I can go hard. Like, I'm such like a little wuss when it comes to Diablo that like I'm playing on like world tier 1. Like, I'm not even like, I'm just vibing. I'm just chilling because I'm playing solo right now too. Just trying to like learn, you know? It does seem pretty taxing, computers. Yeah, it makes my fans pretty loud. What's SC? Softcore. Gotcha. Thank you for saying it before I even asked. Like once I finish, like I have to actually genuinely think. I think what my plan is, I want to replay Subnautica because I never got to finish Subnautica before they took it off of Game Pass. So I think I want to so I'm trying to I got ahead of myself. I have to think of a plan for what I want to do / can do, gonna do, like what am I gonna do after Zelda? So yeah, so I think I might replay / finally finish Subnautica. But there's like a couple games that I want to get back into. Like I really want to get back into 7 Days to Die. I want to get back into Valheim. Like there's a lot of games that like I'm ready to get back into like after Nate, you know. You're wonderful. It's fine. You're a wonderful, driver. Thank you. Thank you for explaining things to me because I'm a dumb gamer girl. I don't know anything. We're taxing when running Discord. Yeah, exactly. And we would have to have Discord to have like voice chat and stuff. But I'm down. Like I'm down for like the weekends or whatever, you know? I'm down for the weekends. Or some shiz, you know? Because I don't do anything on the weekends. False? False. Black bears. Alright, I'm literally just heading towards this marker that's supposed to be a shrine. Hi, hello, I'm here. Hi, hello. What is making that noise? Oh, Minoru. I keep hearing all this like thumping behind me and I'm like, I get so paranoid and it's fucking Minoru every time. Ooh. Easy peasy. That was so good. Oh my god, that was so good. Hey, come here. So if you were not here on Friday, I beat the game. It's one of the most beautifully, amazingly, beautifully happy, sad games I've ever played ever. I cried so much. Like, I literally had to, like, take a minute during, like, the end credits and just kind of, like, cry it out with chat because it was just, like, so good. So now we get to be big chillin'. And we get to just grind towards the 100% and just chill while I figure out what to do with the rest of my life. Like, it feels so defeating in a weird sense because I waited 6 years for this game. 6 years. Like, I waited 6 years for this game to, like, beat it in a little over a month, you know? Depressing. It's depressing. Okay, so there's supposed to be a shrine here. Is it under? It's gotta be under. I don't see an under the— ooh. This is a Korok, though. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Amazing. To be fair, you're on one of the shreddies. You could have done— I could have done the story. I know, but like, that's the thing is like, I don't know. I think it's because I wasn't streaming when Breath of the Wild came out and I was able to like lay in bed and just explore for hours and hours and hours and hours without any sort of guilt. Not that you guys guilt me like, oh, you're so boring, you're doing all this grinding. But, like, you know that I start to get a little self-conscious that, like, I'm being boring if, you know, I do too much grinding stuff. So I just think that it was two different experiences in my life, you know? Breath of the Wild was a very personal experience for me. And Tears of the Kingdom is an experience that I've shared with you guys. So I just think that I approached it differently is all. Not in a bad way. What's this? Oh, I did this because there's a Korok in there. Okay, so back to this supposed shrine. Oh, Laz, you'll have to, I don't know if you saw the post in the Discord or not, but, I'm adding a new thing for subs, where they can have, like, a little welcome message and, like, a little welcome sound. So you can just let me know, like, what you'd like. Or if you don't, like, have a sound you'd like, and you just have, like, an idea and you want me to pick one out, you can let me know. Or if you don't want one at all, that's perfectly fine, too. I'm just trying to think of things, like, for you guys, you know? Because you guys have been here for forever, supporting me, hanging out with me. And I feel like the only thing I can provide is entertainment, and like, is that enough? Make up these gold darners, please. No, you won't let me? Wow, thank you. Thanks for nothing. Alright, so it's, here. Hi Raven, how are you? Welcome in. Welcome into spoiler-free territory, because I have beaten the game and now we're just collecting Koroks and doing shrines. How are ya? Oh, I'm cold. Alright, so it's gotta be up here. Maybe say we don't mind considering how it's something you may want to do in grinding shrines is part of the game. It's a little less entertaining. Like, yeah, no grindy things, only story things. Right, but like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it just depends on your audience. And I feel like I don't want to bore my audience. Does that make sense? Listen, I'm just self-conscious, okay? I think everyone hates me. Doing decent yourself? I'm doing okay. No cam, because I woke up from a nap and I was like, I'm really, really, really bored. So I'm gonna stream, but I don't feel like putting makeup and stuff on. So here we are. I can't find the entrance to this place. And I'm getting a little frustrated. Like, is this the one that's got the whatchamacallit attached to it? The quest attached to it? Because this is the one, something about, like, a white bird. And I don't see a white bird. Or I didn't see a white bird. See, what does it say? Yeah. She saw a white bird sitting atop the shadow of Meadow's perch at early morning. When she tried to go after it, the bird was gone. In its place was the entrance to the cave. Early morning. It is. It's 7:20 in the morning. It's not early morning, but like I've been here since morning. So this isn't it. But there is a shrine over here. Meanwhile, the people playing games like Warzone or League are like, I'm streaming. You're stuck with me. Honestly, like, I don't want to be, like, I feel like every stream it ends up being, like, me complaining about something about streaming, and that just turns people off. But, like, bro, like, if all you're playing is COD and, like, not even that well, like, Oh my god, why are you getting viewers when, like, there's so much better entertainment out there? Okay, so this... it's gonna be easy. This way. I get it. This way. This way. This way. Got it. All hail the egg! Egg. So that comes from Valheim. My friends make fun of the way I say egg. I think it's the New Englander in me says egg, and they think that it's funny. My friends all tease me for it. And in Valheim, there are these big, giant, pink dragon eggs, and we managed to semi-glitch this egg and make it, like, basically float without there being any land or ground underneath it. And then we were able to, like, all jump on this floating egg and, like, all, like, go into basically, like, the sitting emote in Valheim or whatever. So we were able to, like, all sit around this pink floating dragon egg in Valheim. And my emote artist is amazing. And she whipped that emote up for me. Egg. Yeah, egg. I'm from New England, shut up. Okay, where is the entrance? This fucking cave. Like, it has to be a cave. There has to be. Na 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 na. We go around the world like la 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 la. I don't think the egg is part of your emotes anymore. Limited edition egg. So it's not. I just removed the egg when I got my new emotes made, like last week. But it is in our BTTV. So you can still technically use it if you have BTTV, which is free. We have like 200 and something. Like if you do !BTTV, it'll give you like our BTTV dash with all of the emotes that are in there, and the egg is in there, along with the dancing egg as well. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so I'm really confused. I'm about to look this up. I don't think I've ever heard of it. Oh, it's really awesome. It's better. It's called Better TTV, Better Twitch TV. And it's just like this massive shared emote collection. So, you know, Twitch only gives you so many emotes depending on if you're affiliated or partner. And if you've like met like the requirements like for subscribers and stuff. But BTTV gives you like a whole entire second dashboard to use. Yeah, it's pretty dope. All right, so bird. I hear bird. White bird. Are you the white bird I need? It's not early morning, so probably not. Nope, and now it just disappeared. Oh, wait, we can ride the bear. If it won't kill us first. Goddamn. I just want I just minded my own business. Come on, man. Mind my own business. Oh. It's kind of funny, honestly. The quest that I'm doing right now. Laws help me. Laws help me. Is this okay? Is where I am this quest? Cause like this is the tree, right? moose. Up? What? Up where? The white bird, yeah. It's not talking about it's not talking about a physical bird. Okay, so Bob Meadows perch is the thing. Hold on, I have to turn my air conditioner on. I'm wondering if my air conditioner is what is actually making my mic not sound good. Okay, so Von Meadows perch is the little piece that sticks out of right there. That's Von Meadows perch. And it says what? When you asked if she could remember, she said she saw a white bird sitting atop the shadow of Von Meadows perch at early morning. When she tried to go after it, the bird was gone and its place was under the cave. Okay. So that's the perch. So the shadow of the perch at early morning is supposed to show some sort of bird, not a physical bird, but like a representation of a bird. And if I remember right, I'm pretty sure I already like went up here and like looked at it from before. Does the perch cast a shadow for a beak? That's what I was thinking. Okay, so it's 2 p.m. So we should be able to get up the perch by early morning. Should. All right, since I'm done with the story, as long as you're not backseating me, like in the sense that as soon as I'm walking in the door, you're telling me how to solve it. Like we can like solve these puzzles and stuff together. Yeah, yeah, you can give me a hint. I'm not necessarily opposed to help now that I've beaten the game, because now we're just trying to fill in the 100%. Like I said, not backseaty. Don't like straight up tell me or like straight up give me answers, but like we can like solve puzzles together. I know Laz knows the difference, but just saying in general. Step 1, B-Link. Wow, I literally just said no backseating. Seriously? Rude. Step 2, turn on console. Wait, I got confused. Wait. How? What? What? How? How do I do that? How do I do that? Let me mansplain it. Instructions unclear. Dick cut and ceiling fan. I was gonna say something like that. Like, instructions unclear. Hi, Biggie. Welcome in. How are you? Alright. We're gonna figure out this stupid riddle. Alright, we have until morning to get this riddle. We're gonna climb. It's the climb. Link, I heard she's annoying. Oh my gosh, what if Zelda was a girl? Like, just like, what if? Guys, I watched my reaction to the end of this game like 12 times of the day, and I was like, holy crap. You're playing as Zelda right now? Obviously, the game is called Legend of Zelda. Pretty good, glad I got my finally- Ooh. Did you do anything fun this weekend? Anything fun and exciting? I literally did absolutely nothing this weekend, and it was fantastic. Like, when I say I did nothing, I mean, I didn't even cook myself food. Like, I got, like, yeah, I did nothing this weekend. It was great. Sunday, I slept until, well, I didn't sleep until 3, but, like, I did not get out of bed till 3. I watched a movie and, like, laid in bed all day. It was great. It was honestly great. Excuse me. I tried to mute the mic, but I didn't reach it. I didn't reach in time. Alright. Where can there be a bird? Krista dead. Die. What if I actually did die on stream? Do you think I'd get banned? Do you think my account would get banned if I died on stream? That's the funniest part, is that like they would actually probably ban my channel. But at least I'd get famous for something, right? Well, if you fell into a hot tub or something. No, I get, like, they would probably straight ban me for, like, promoting dangerous behavior or something. Alright, so we're up top now. So, the shadow... Okay, so there's the shadow. Oh, I'm cold. So there's the shadow. So early morning, it's gonna be... like, over here, right? Shoot the bird? Oh no, dead person getting banned and can no longer stream. I know. Imagine though. Imagine that's what like gets me like followers and viewers. It's dying. I wasn't entertaining enough while I was alive. Alright, I need to make fire. Fire! This girl is on fire. Wow, I used to have way more, like, wood in Breath of the Wild. But also, you could, like, use it for more stuff. I went to friends last night for a little barbecue. Got Tuesday and Wednesday off. Oh, I'm not jealous, I swear. Okay, early morning. Where's our shadow? Okay. So... I see the bird! So there's a cave over there? Where the heck's there a cave? What? So where is there a cave? Is there a cave, like, in the actual bird? That's hilarious. Ugh. The bird's butt? Are we going in the butt? Ooh, it's literally a little tiny cave. Like, it's a little one. Hello, I need, frog, please. Snowbird. Oh, my, headset's dying, apparently. It just made a very loud beep. It actually gave me a little jump. A little jump there. Okay. Plugged in. But yeah, we did. We went in the bird's butt. Okay, so... that's where we came in, right? Sticky lizards. So where do we go? Where did we go now? Where did we go now? Should I break that ice? Like, I don't know. Is this where the other thing is, please? This has gotta be where the other shrine is, right? Yeah, there it is. Wows! Wows! Is this a blessing? Please be a blessing. Did that raise our percentage up literally at all? God, this is gonna take so long to get this up. It's gonna be ridiculous. Lever power. Okay. Wonderful. I love this. Okay, so... lift you? How? No. Drop you? Really? Okay. Okay. That one. And then... that. And then we should just drop this one here, right? Oh, it was so close to hitting the top one. Okay. Okay. I almost want to say something along the lines of, what else is white and maybe in the shape of a bird? But that would have been a little too direct. No, I think that you could have, like, as soon as you're like not a literal bird, as I like was like, okay, okay, okay. Like, stop being so literal. Go. That does not work. Okay. Okay. That's too high. How about like here? Oh my god. Whoopsies. Okay, does this one work? Boing. Yeah. Wait, how do I get over there? Oh, I launched myself. Whee! Okay, that doesn't get me all the way up though. So. Whale. Whale! Whale! Go back. Okay. Get in the thing. Okay, perfect. Okay, and then this. And then drop. Yoink! Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Look at how easy that shrine was. Make this shrine our bitch. Wait, where was the... Wait. Where was the chest? Like, I didn't even see it. Okay, so that one's done. 63.36, so it's point... So it's 0.2. Did you hear that math? 0.2 per shrine. Absolutely ridiculous. Where's this frog so I can get out of here? Froggy. Oh my gosh, really, Link? Frog? Frog? Bubble frog? Where are you? Is it something to do with this ice, I wonder? Because I don't see it over here. I don't hear it either. Usually you hear it. Alright, let's go look at this ice situation here. Oh wait, right here. There he is, yep. Oop. Give me your soul! Amazing. Amazing. Alright, does this count towards completion? No. Okay. I don't know what counts. Like, I know that some of the bosses do. Alright, I don't need this set for treasure chests anymore. I need this set for... What do I set it for, I guess? It was rice and a bag of tiki masala. Ooh, that sounds good. That actually sounds really good. Alright, so... What one material am I missing? I take pictures of everything in my inventory. What could I possibly be missing? 125 out of 126. Oh, right here. What's this? Want some naan now? You want a confession? I've never had that before. Horse. Giant horse. A white horse. Giant white. Oh, it would have been perfect if I went giant white horse. Golden horse. But they ruined it by putting stallion. Look at this goat. Look at this goat picture I got. Is this not the greatest goat picture you've ever seen? Look at it. It's so derpy. I love it. It's so good. Some of the ones I got were so derpy. Like all of the fish. Like, look, I just literally just piled the fish on the ground and like took pictures of all of them. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Screams and go, ah! That probably didn't even come through. My mic probably cut it out. Alright, what am I tracking? Let's track a hardy lizard. Hardy lizard. Alright, let's go. Next! Ooh, get these. Get these. Get these. Get these. Come here. You're a chillfin? Is that what you are? Is that what you are? Come here. Yes, you are. I don't need a chillfin. I need hearty. Hearty. Party and ready to party. Ka-chow. Ka-chow. Alright. I think upgrades. I think, armor upgrades also count towards the percentage. So let's just, I don't think I can. I really actually don't think I can. But let's just go look. Why are my eyes not seeing? Thank you. Let's just go look and see if any of them will have any upgrades for us. I like genuinely, honestly don't think so. Ba -ba -da -da. 123. All right, so we need 30. We need 29 more because I think it's 152, right? Obi, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate you. Okay. So we need 29 more shrines. That's actually a lot of shrines when you think about it. Because how many do we, like, how many do you think were on the surface? Right? It's 152, right? Because it's 120 and 32. And I have 129. Okay. Hold on. Just real quick. I think we're at 63. I think we're actually perfectly mirrored. 63:36. Yeah, 63:36. Okay, so let's see if this goes up at all if we upgrade. Her moans make me uncomfortable. I know. They do. They really do. That's why I try to skip through as much as possible. Some of it you can't skip through and it's like so annoying. At least it's not awkward enough time where she like screams at you and it would confuse me. It confused me. Oh, I need a Lizalfo still for that? Sucks, okay. Right, but did these count? Do these count? I don't remember if these count or not, so we're just gonna go for it. I don't remember if they count towards upgrades or not. Dang, upgrading is gonna take so long. Yeah, upgrading is gonna take so long to do. What? Oh, well, there's a use for some like stones, finally. Enhance. 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 These clothes I find very strange. Hi, Aya. Welcome in. How are you? It's good to see you. The flashing plus still gets me. I press it and I add another redundant action to picking up. Yeah. I feel like this is just with any game, but you get used to it. Press flashing button to clear, yeah. Okay, so I don't know what counts. Like, I don't know if these count towards the 100% completion. I'm gonna have to actually look up a list, I think. Aya, how's your day? Aya, Aya, Aya. Oh. I'm so tired. I had a good activity today. I'm so tired too. I haven't been sleeping. I've got some shit going on with my family. I've got some shit going on with some of my friends. And I'm just like not doing good right now. So I was gonna take a couple days off, but I came home from work and I passed like right the F out. And I woke up and I was like, I'm so bored. And I'm literally just gonna sit here and like twiddle my thumbs. So like, screw it, I'll stream. Even if it's only just for a little bit, you know? Okay. Alright, so let's see if that increased our percentage at all. It did not. I wonder if it's fully, when it's fully upgraded. Alright, so now I have to do these two here. And there's one up here. 19 out of 31 shrine quests. So I am literally missing 12 shrine quests. Like whole ass shrine quests. I'm only missing 6 side adventures. I'm missing so many side quests. Like holy. All right, I need to go back. Okay, so I'm only missing, so I'm only technically missing 4 side adventures because I have the other 2 started, just not completed. So this is a lot missing. So this would be 20 right here. And then, so that's 11 more shrine quests. Do I have 11 marks on my map? 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. So there's literally a bunch right here that I haven't even gotten yet. So I guess I can do Korok Forest because I know that there's going to be some in there. I know it. I just know it. I thought you beat the game. I did beat the game. That's how I can see all those numbers. I know you're being sarcastic, but I'm not being sarcastic. I'm not being sarcastic. As soon as one thing ends, another begins. I just tell my family to stop updating me unless someone is in the hospital, honestly. Sometimes you're just like, please give me space. So, for real talk, if you see, a star on the load on the save file, it means Ganon has been defeated on this save file. So, and that is how you can see in the bottom corner. So he has his 63.36 out of 100%. You can't see that number if you didn't beat the game. Which I find stupid, because, like, what if I wanted to see how much I had before? Whatever. Drowsy. What, Drowsy in chat? That's a fun one. I don't have any great balls. Wow. Can I do a weapon? 45. Holy. Okay. Can I do a bow? 25. Don't have that. Okay. Never mind. We're holding out. Alright. Alright, so they said follow the lights here. I'm not gonna just climb into the tree's mouth and leave the forest. Oh, to leave the forest. That's kind of cute. I don't want to leave the forest though. I want to do my shrine quests. Wait, where? What? 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 What are you saying to me? What are you saying to me? These lights? I'll do these lights instead. Gonna go chill in the recliner with some breath. Very nice. Enjoy, Raven. Enjoy. What? What? Hi, Broseph. Broseph, there's no spoilies tonight. Are you gonna hang out with me? You're here? Yay. I'm so glad you're here. Oh. That was... What? Why? Why? It's literally right here. Pumpkin shrine. Joseph, how was the rest of your day? What did you do? Well, I know you Diabloed, but what else did you do? What else did you do? You Diabloed, that's it? That's nice. Maybe one day we'll Diablo together. Once I catch up to everybody. Ooh, a blessing. A blessing in disguise. I've accidentally ran off of here. Reading chat. Let's get rid of this one. You can Diablo at any level. The enemy scared of you. It's scared of you. Scaled you. I know. I just wanna catch up to my friends. Enemies scared of you. My gosh, why do people let me on the internet? I don't know. The answer is, I don't know. Hi JJ, how are ya? I don't know if I asked you that, but how are you? All right, 124. We're getting there. We're getting there. What are those? Oh my god, they're keys. They look like little butterflies. Look at them. They look so peaceful, like little butterflies. And they are not butterflies. They are murderflies. Oh, what? Thanks, Minoru. Okay, now where do I go? Follow the light. Follow the light. No, I don't want you. I don't want you. I'll take your apples though. No, oh my gosh. Yodobo. Alright, has anyone figured out what's the... I'm gonna do it right now. Screw you guys. I'm gonna do it right now. Screw you guys. I don't need you for nothing. What does this do? What does this do? It just has a little bit of a wind behind it. Okay. I see. Goodbye. No, you're not allowed to leave ever. Driver, you know better. You live here. Not by choice. By force. Okay, I'm back. Okay, good. I was worried. I was worried that everyone was gonna abandon me like everyone always does. I'm about it. Listen. Relax. You've seen me shoot. You don't know the things I'm capable of. It could be a very not fun time. Hello? Can I have like my stuff? Forest dwellers sheep. A shield. Oh my god. It's garbage. I don't want it though. I want these arrows. No, no, no. Alright, fine. Whatever. You win. Game. You win. Alright. Following. Thought you were taking a couple days off. I planned on it. But then I took a nap after work and I sat at my computer and I was really, really, really bored. So, yeah, here we are. Lol. Yeah, the plan was to take a couple days off, but I realized that I have reached the point where I have a hard time entertaining myself. So that's fun, apparently. Alright, how am I gonna cross this? There's no more buildy things. Can I cross it with Minoru? Is that a thing? No way. No way. There's no way that they just let you walk through that with Minoru. They just let me walk through with Minoru? Like, they're like, no, it's fine. What? All these golden apples, though, obviously. That blows my mind. Like, I did not think at all that, like, you could just walk Minoru through the goo. Alright, this is a dead end. Yeah, I get it. You want me to go like this? I get it. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am Lord. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whee! Whee! Alright, so... This is a dead end? This is silly. Ooh. I see you. How do I get that? I prefer it. You're welcome. Thank you for getting my reference. Thank you for getting my obscure references that nobody ever understands. Oh my god, open. Just open this. There's a Wizrobe literally floating around right now, annoying the crap out of me. Alright. So this is a dead end. Like there's literally nothing up here? Is that what's going on? Where's this Wizrobe over here? Okay. Where's it up top? Wait, where's the other one? Okay, I'm not supposed to be over here. Okay, so let's go back to the forest and go south. Back to the forest and south. This will tell me, right? Yeah, because the minimap has north on it. Right, okay. That's right. Okay, so north. So we need to go this way. Okay, so follow the lights. Do you have a quest? You do have a quest. Over there. Okay. There's a green swirl, and you can see an island floating in the sky from there. Maka loves the place. It's covered in lost fog. Only Korks can go there, but so you can't come with me. But I'll tell you where to find it. Could you show me your map? Yes. Yes, it's here. Okay. You can see an island floating in the sky from there. I wonder if you could see into the forest from that sky island too. Okay, so the sky island that's right above. Which one? Here. Here. Perfect. Perfect. Guys, I am hungry hippos right now. Hungry hippos. Ugh. Okay, so we have to look into the forest below. Says there's a swirl. Maybe on this side. Yeah, see, it's right there. Will it let me though? That's the problem. Because last time I tried to do this, it would not let me. What's the plan for foods? There is no plan for foods because I get paid on Wednesday. So we just... I got some pretzels. I guess that'll do. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Ooh. I almost just died. Oh, I almost just died. Oh. That was dangerous. But it's all good. I have pretzels. I turned around to look at my pretzels. That's what almost killed me. Raru's blessing. Bless me with something good? That's not very good. Yeah, it's not even better than my worst. Not even better than my worst. Skip. We don't need any of that. We don't need any of that crap. We don't need any of that crap. Okay. Oh, this is cute. He's got a little mushroom in his mouth. In his mouth. Alright, is this supposed to do... Like, is there supposed to be anything else in here? Maka. Okay. So that should be it for that one. And then we just need to go, come on, northwest from Korok Forest. That's almost, wait. I'm gonna pull up a thingy thing. Because I'm gonna guess that there's probably Koroks in the Korok Forest to be caught. To be collected. Collected. A panpour. Ba-ba. Ba-ba. Okay, north, west. Okay, follow the lights. Can't go past here. Yes, I can. It says on the cylinder, look kind of different. Why? I'm gonna go back to where there are a bunch of monsters. Okay, I can do that. The flowers are there to help you from getting lost, so don't go picking them. Oh, okay. Don't pick the flowers. Oh, it's so hard to not pick flowers. Alright, there's bone monsters. Bone monsters. Oh, wow. Before I could even swing my dumb, stupid, two-handed heavy sword. Pop. Alright, don't pick the flowers. Okay, not picking flowers. Not picking flowers. Not picking flowers. I need a one-handed weapon. I can see. Oh, wood, amazing. Who is hitting me? Oh my god. Alright. Did I get turned around? No, because there's a bunch there. Okay, so this way. Yeah, it's gonna be over here. But they said it was different. It's a different color. Oh, see, it's missing its thing! Seriously? Where's your stupid thing? I just did this a second ago. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I am Lord. Jeez. It's gonna be... Oh my gosh, it's a Talus. It's a Talus! Shh, I don't have anything. Okay, we are gonna do this though, in the meantime. Yep. There you are, I know. Where's your... Is it... This is your thing? Oh, okay. Thought it was just the thing. No way. There's no way. There's no way. There's no... There's literally no way that that was that easy. Like, there's what? What? It's right here. Man, these Lost Woods puzzles were quite a bit easier than they were the last time. Not that that's necessarily, like, a bad thing, but I just remember, like, the Lost Woods being, like, so complicated. Alright, let's look up, Korok seeds in the Korok Forest. There's none. There's no Korok seeds to collect in the Korok forest. You're joking. Wow, the closest one is right outside. Okay. Wow, that blows my mind. I thought for sure there would be Koroks in the forest. Shows how much I know. Shows how much I know. All right, so what is this count? Okay, I need to look up what counts towards 100%. Like I need to know, do I need to find all of the maps? Or do I just need to find what's in the treasure chests for the maps? Like, do I need to do both? Like, do I need to go find all the maps for the stuff that I've already found in the depths? Like, do I need all the Yiga schematics? Like, what counts towards 100%? I have to find out. I have to look it up. Okay. Does this put our percentage at? It doesn't show me on here, does it? 126. There's 26 more. 214. I am 20% of the way. All right, we are 63.48. Okay. We have not done very much at all. All right, so. Okay, I want to know if this map shows me every location. No, because this literally only says... See, this one only even says Lake Saria. It doesn't even do Mido Swamp over here. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Have we gotten this one? All right, so there's one here. There's one here. There's one here. There's one here. Okay. And then there's one here. Okay. Wait, where's my other marker? Oh, over here. Why? Why did I put this one down? I don't remember. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then there's one here. Okay, so where's our closest place to go? Here. Alright, so I'm not gonna look up how to solve any of these. I'm just gonna look up their locations. Even though I think one of them, I think the white line means that it's one you have to travel with. So it might be one that we need to find a different location for. Okay. Closest is green. Probably should get a horse, but you know. Why do things the efficient way when you can do things the annoying way? Okay, so in this cluster of trees and stuff up, it looks like. Ooh, yes, you. I need you. Perfect. Send the lens. Okay. Ooh, you look like you are from the, what you call it? The one that's covered in... Yeah, can I get all the way up here? Because that'd be amazing. Ooh. Nice. Okay, so this one... Where? In these trees? Right here. Okay. Is it literally on the top of the tree? I can't see yet. No. Interesting. Oh, here it is. Okay. That one is done. Yep, yep. Okay. There's actually one right here, it says. That's actually closer than going the other way, real quick. This actually will probably help. Oh, I'm probably not doing this effectively. I probably should start in one corner and just go from side to side. Probably what I should be doing. A fireproof lizard down here? Okay. So I should be starting in one corner and just working my way around. But in theory, if I walk everywhere as I collect Koroks, I should most likely potentially also be discovering all of the locations along the way. So I think that that's actually not the worst idea. What's up? Oh my gosh, get Rexed? Is that what that is? Well, how are you? Welcome in. Alright, so there's gonna be one... the top of here, probably? Oh, I got it right? Nice. What's up, Rex? How are you? Welcome in. Okay, so it says here. Oh, wow. So that's how those work. Okay. Armor is my main way of not spoiling. Oh, spoiling the game? Alright, so we got that one. Yes. Well, I luckily finished the game last week, so there's no more spoilers for me. Now I'm just trying to get all these stupid pieces of Korok poop. Oh dang, yeah, finished last week. So now we're just grinding to our 100%. We're at 63% now. Do you have all armor sets? There's a couple pieces that I'm missing that I have to go and get. If I remember right, I think. I think I'm missing the... Yeah, see, I'm just missing the headpiece of the Royal Guard, so I have to go back in the castle and get that. And I think everything else is... Oh, no, my Zonai is not done either. So almost everything. Almost everything is done. Almost everything. Missing Majora's Mask? No, I'm not. It's right here. You wanted me to go down in that Lionel pit? Is that what you wanted to see? You wanted to see? Yeah. Yeah. Some fighting. Yeah, I did all that. Forgot to say, in D4 you can bind a key to force move instead of clicking. Wait, for real? So like how to like... So what will that do? Will it just make my character go in a specific direction? Like how does that work? But oh well, whatever. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and I did and I've done the King Gliok down here. And I've done the King Gliok up here. I think there's probably a King Gliok over here as well. I haven't been there yet. But y'all, sorry to disappoint. Already done that. Yeah, my depths are done. My depths are completely done. You need the Medal of Honor? Yeah. Yeah. Counts towards key items? Yeah. Like, instead of left-clicking to attack, you can press this to move instead of attack. Oh, I'll have to look. Oh, I have to move my map. Interesting. I'll have to look. I also saw some people like have their like actual attacks instead of like 1, 2, 3, 4. Like they have their attacks like WASD, which I think is crazy. But I guess if it works for them, it works for them. Alright, so this purple one right here is close. It's not cold anymore. I can put my stealth back on so I can get some buggies. Hit the fact you go around for the Korax and you get a literal... I know. It's honestly, I feel like they did that on purpose just for people like me who are collectors and are like, I need to get all of these little tiny things because they're collectible in the game. And it's like you're like exactly like you said, it's shit. It's literal shit. You don't have any Pokeballs, I guess. Yours are they really QWER? I guess that makes, I mean, okay. It's like almost 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. Alright, come here, Minoru. No. No, I need Minoru! Thank you. This is my absolute favorite cheese. It's that Minoru can just walk through the goo. It's ridiculous. Use League of Legends. Okay, and that's how you play D3. I've never played a Diablo game except for this one. Excuse me. Oh my god, I have no idea where that just came from, guys. I'm so sorry. I usually mute if I feel a cough coming. Okay, that one's done. We'll go up to this blue. I did that because it's checked off. Oh, I should have got those keys. Too late. Too late. Too late. Combi brings me back to when I shiny hunted and the 4 sandwiches it took for a female combi. Oh yeah, female combis are hard to get. I don't even want to talk about shiny hunting. I am so angry at Scarlet Violet. You mean you don't choke on spit when singing and then pump water into your own nose? No, no, Broseph, I don't. I don't do those things. That's you. I was actually, like, I had actual tears. I was laughing so fucking hard. When you're, like, singing and you're like, like, you just, like, literally gagged. It's not that bad. Yeah, it's... So, hi, hello, welcome to my channel. I have bad luck in every game possible. I have bad luck with equipment drops. I have bad luck with shiny. I have terrible luck. I shiny hunted for 3 weeks straight for a shiny Dragonair, which is my favorite Pokemon. I hatched 12 boxes of eggs on top of Outbreak and Sandwich hunting, and I did not get a shiny. So I got frustrated, and I haven't played Scarlet Violet in like months. Just because it's my luck. All of my friends have gotten them, and they're like, I have one, I can give it to you. And I'm like, that's not the point. The point is, I want my own. It just eludes me. 4.5 hours for Literal Tiny Blade. Man, that I already shitty evolution for it. That you already had the evolution for it? Yeah. That's what shiny hunting is, though. But yeah, I'm just burnt out because I'm bitter. Because I never got the shiny that I grinded and grinded and grinded and grinded for. Like, I literally would fall asleep at my Switch, like, breeding my Dragonairs to get eggs. To like hatch eggs. Like I was literally falling asleep and like dropping my Switch on my face, like for like 3 weeks straight, like every day, hours and hours and hours. Try Philly Beats You. He has good content for shiny hunting. No, I know what to do. Like I know what to do. It's just it's just eluding me! Oh, I thought for sure that was a debate with a Korok. That's why I dropped my thing. Alright, so it's gotta be here. There's specific spots for each Pokemon, yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just me, I'm telling you. Like, it's just me. It's just me. It's just me. Because people were like, I'm getting so many shinies in Scarlet Violet. Like, I'm literally just walking past getting shinies. They're like, my friends would get like 8 shinies per day and stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Pink did it correctly. Yeah, that's what I'm, like, I know how to do it. It just wasn't happening for me. It just wasn't happening for me. You have one full-on shiny. I do too. It's fucking Smoliv. You know what Smoliv looks like? A fucking olive. No one gives a shit. Minoru. Minoru, no. Yeah, I don't have the shiny charm either. I was being stubborn. I was being stubborn. I wanted to beat the Elite Four with a shiny Dragonair. Alright, what am I not seeing? There's a Korok over here, it says. A Gumi. I forgot you're doing Masuda or just English Ditto. A dragon. I was doing Masuda. I had a female and a male Dragonair. One of them... Oh, it's up there. I see it now. I don't remember which one, but one of them was a trade, so it wasn't from the US. I think it was a Japanese trade. I see it now. I see where I have to go now. Yeah. Yeah. And I did so many boxes. I don't even want to talk about how many boxes I did. Do you guys remember the weeks upon weeks of streams where it was just me riding my bike in circles and just chatting to you guys, hatching eggs? Like, it was like weeks. There's like one night I got drunk because I was like so annoyed. It's like, I can't catch this stupid noodle. Me running maniacally around your picnic, yeah. Yep, trying to get help spawn them, yeah. Alright, so now I need to go to yellow, which is behind me. Yeah, I'll get back into Pokemon. Like I said, there's a lot of games that I'm finally getting to the point where like I'm okay playing them without him, you know? So Pokemon's one of them that I want to get back into. Like I have to think of what I'm gonna do when I finish Zelda. Like Zelda has consumed me for so long and it's had such a hold on me that it's like, what am I gonna do when I finish? Damn it, time to get drunk. All I remember is a waterfall. Don't go Jason Waterfalls. Chris, I can't remember if Shiny Charm actually affects Masuda, but I can't recall. Yeah. Like I said, I was being stubborn. Like, I'm fully aware. I'm fully aware of the increase in odds with a Shiny Charm, but I wanted to beat the game with... you know, with my shiny. Alright, where the hell? Right, I hear, but I don't see. What? Oh my god, behind me. Saga with 12,000 eggs hatched and no shiny. I can't remember how many, like, actual eggs it ended up being, but it was, like, at, like, one night was, like, 12 boxes. And that was just, like, one night. That doesn't even include, like, all of the other nights that I did, you know, before that. Okay. So let's mark some more Koroks off. Alright. This one's done. This one is done. This one is done. This one's done. This one's done. Okay, so where are we here? So you... Alright, so there's one here. Okay. There's one here. Here? Question mark? Here. 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 If you're bored, you should do some grinding for armor upgrades and get the last pieces you need. I'm doing Koroks tonight. A lot of the, like, that grinding stuff where I need to get, like stuff, like, supplies, I usually do off stream. Just want to say hi, hope you're okay. If you do stream this week, I probably won't be there because I fly out for North Carolina tomorrow and don't get up till Saturday night. Thanks for coming in to say hi, Wolfie. I'm okay. I did plan on taking some time off, but, boredom got the better of me. Toolbox is about 400 if you had to hatch around 800. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was about 1,000 was when I was like, alright, I'm tired. And that was however many save scums of the outbreaks, however many outbreaks of both Dratini and Dragonair. Like, yeah, we went really hard for a couple weeks there, for like 3 weeks. I'll get back into it. I'll get back into it. Eventually. Alright, what's our... 7-6, okay. Kevin's playing some Zelda. So we'll start with blue and we'll work our way up. Wow, there's a lot of bones there. Holy. Holy. Did I do that one? Yeah, I did. I can see the platform there. I have to go through these guys too. There's like 88 of these or something. I've done a lot of the signs though. Once I learned the cheese of the platform, like, it was pretty much over. Pretty much over after that. Alright, we're gonna start blue, which is right there. And work our way up this river. I just marked them. Like, all I did was mark the locations. I didn't look up any of, like, the solutions to any of the puzzles, which they're not the hardest, but sometimes they're not quite directly in your face, you know? I believe my house at 3:30. Thankfully, my stepdad is driving us to the airport, so I don't have to pay for parking or spend almost 50 on an Uber. Can I ask? You don't have to answer if you don't want to, but what are you going to North Carolina for? I did get Violet, yeah. Whee! Thanks for the boost. Thanks for the boost again. Okay, this one's done. Easy enough. You son of a... I really don't feel like it right now. I don't feel like it. Sir. Thank you. Is that one done? Yes. Taking my daughter to her maternal grandmother, and then I'm headed to Charlotte for a few days to see a friend. Wink, wink. Well, good for you, Wolfie. I hope you have a good time. I hope your daughter has a good time, too. I hope you have a good time. You deserve it. Best of Train Spots is also played with a million Dreepy as well. Yeah. Yeah, that was the other problem. Is, when we were... So, I noticed that Scarlet Violet does this thing where in an outbreak of a Pokemon, they will put a Pokemon that's the same color as the shiny you're looking for. For example, while I was shiny hunting Dragonair, which is a blue Pokemon, which is pink when it's shiny, they put fucking Slowpokes there. So, like, the Slowpoke tail would, like, stick out of the water and look like a noodle. Like, they would always, like, put a random Pokemon that was, like, the color of the shiny Pokemon. For almost all of July, and then when her maternal grandmother brings her back, her mom's taking us to Disney. Oh, that's nice. That'll be nice. You guys deserve a good time. I was supposed to go to Disney in 2020. It was supposed to be my birthday present to myself. And it was also supposed to be a nice celebration of like how far I had come in life. You know, I had gotten a good job and like I was just like in a really great place. And I was gonna go to Disney and I was gonna go to Galaxy's Edge and I was gonna do the whole Star Wars experience and it was gonna be me and a couple girls from work and we were just gonna hang out and have a good time. And then fucking COVID happened. And then I moved across the country and now I am in one of the worst places mentally, financially, and emotionally that I've ever been. And I still haven't been to Galaxy's Edge. So, yay, Disney! Just some stuff like, yeah, like Galaxy's Edge, yeah. That, like, as cheesy as it sounds, but just because it's, like, me and it's important to me, like, that was, like, my dream at one point was, like, to be proposed to at Galaxy's Edge. Like, in the Millennium Falcon. Okay, so there's a Korok here? Huh. I don't see one literally anywhere. Is that a sign I have to hold up? I can't see through these stupid sages. No, it's not. What? Where the heck is this one? Alright, I'm looking this one up because I don't know. Swim into the mouth of the skull and pick up the rock? Wow, how the heck would you have found that? How would you have found that naturally? See, some of these, some of these are not, you're not gonna come across these naturally. Come on, let's be real. Man, I want to know, like, what it was they were thinking when they hid some of these Koroks, man. Like, are they... Okay, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Do you think that they're building the map first and then they're placing the Koroks in? Or are they, like, building places, like, with the intention of putting Koroks into them? Because some of these places are whack. Wackadoo. How do people they can drive insane? That's what I'm saying. Apparently some regional taco chain called Taco John's that I've never heard of holds the trademark on Taco Tuesdays. Wait, for real? So many people say Taco Tuesdays. That's crazy. People be crazy with their trademarks. I'd trademark Pixel if I had money. Just so I can get the stupid fucking Twitter that's been inactive since 2011. What is this? Why is this just open with rocks? This is sus. Very sus. Very, very, very sus. Oh, so that's a... Huh. You've got to be like right here. Wait, where's the little... There's gotta be a little Korok. Come on. No, no, I don't need any of you, please. Alright, where's the Korok? There has to be a Korok here, because there's his little buddy. Wait, have I gotten this one already? Oh, I did! Oh, I did! Easy. Easy peasy, chat. They only enforce it in... I need to trademark Waffle Wednesday. You do, Trem. You do. Get on it right now. Before it's too late. Before somebody else happens to steal your amazingly brilliant idea. They only enforce it on businesses. They license it out, I guess. But Taco Bell is suing to try to get the trademark lifted. Really? Wait, why didn't Waffle work? Why didn't Waffle work? That Waffles was supposed to say how many there are. Maybe there's not one that's actually just Waffle. Maybe it's just give or take. Oh, there it is. Okay, so there's one. Hi, I see you. Boop. Hi-ya-ha-ha. Take syrup. I should do that. I should have like a whole thing, like a whole intricate like system. Just like, like take eggs, take this, take that, like serve, like take plate. Just make it a whole thing. Okay. Oh, that's a Yiga. I see. I see your trap. You shysters. You shysters. Okay. So. Wow, there's so many. Alright, let's do Goron City real quick, because there's like 500 billion over here. This is ridiculous. Dude, alright, so I got that one, I got that one. I got that one, I got that one. So there's one here. Okay. There's one there, I got that. I got that. Okay, so I've gotten almost all of those. So then there's one here, which I got. There's one here. Like, why eyes? Why no eyes working? Here we go. That's why. Here. The noise is not called for. The what? When someone collects all the items, they get breakfast! Pink, you'll have to go to Clarksville, Dover, Elizabethton, Morristown, or White House and tell us if Taco John's is any good. I know where Elizabethton is. In Tennessee. In Tennessee? I know where Elizabethton, Tennessee is. No, this is uncalled for. What did I do? Did I go... What did I do? I don't know what I did. What did I do? Listen, don't think I know things, okay? That's awfully assumptive of you, thinking I know things. Okay, so my question is, do you start here? I think you start here and go over. I think that's how this map works. Listen, don't think I know things exactly. Oh, all those places? Oh, those are all places in Tennessee. I literally have only heard of Elizabethton. There's a White House, Tennessee. No, the fuck there. Of course there is. Of course there's White House, Tennessee. Because they think that they're the most Americans to America here in Tennessee. So that makes sense. That tracks. What is the closest one? Red? Or, no, red. Red. Whee. It does describe a lot of the South. You're not wrong. All of those are correct. Is it in his mouth? That's so weird. Please tell me it's not in his mouth. Grew up in Arkansas? Did you really, Arkansas? I'm so funny. I'm so funny. Imagine living in Mississippi. I mean, I could. It's just south of me. The regional taco chain I miss is Taco Cabana. I've never been there. They are all in Texas or New Mexico, and they're so good. They made their own tortillas on site. Oh my god. No! Son of a bitch! I can't fucking believe that just happened. I'm so pissed right now. I tried to save it, too. Tried to save it. I'm trying to think, like, where the best, like, taco place. I can believe that happened. Listen, Trem. Just because I'm really good at being really bad at games doesn't mean that it's, like, a norm around here, okay? Listen, just because it happens all the time doesn't mean it happens all the time, okay? Minoru! Literally mind your business. Look what you did. Got it. Bitches! There's a Mexican place here that's pretty good that I like, actually. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, what's next? Blue? Yellow? Blue it is. There was this hole in the wall in El Paso called Super Burrow, and it was incredible. So, I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but I might not have. Thanks, Ark. My aunt is from Mexico. My uncle is a Border Patrol agent, and he served in El Paso, where he met this wonderful woman who he married. And yeah, so I've been to El Paso a lot, because that's where my aunt and my uncle were you know, engaged, wed, all that stuff. They lived there for a long time. So I've actually been to El Paso, and I've actually been to Mexico, and I've had like authentic, like legit authentic Mexican food cooked by like a Mexican housewife. And yeah, so like I can say like the best place I've ever had Mexican food is my aunt and uncle's house. This is such a cheese. Let's see if this one works. It's such a cheese. Look at that. Look at that shit. Look at that cheese. Look at that cheese right there. Go for some margaritas. Oh my god. Like I could go for a margarita. Like if that's what you mean. A margarita. No. No. I know what you mean. You mean margarita. Oh, do you mean margaritas as in multiple margaritas, not the location known as margaritas, or do you want margaritas at margaritas? Because I would be down for either of those. Delicious cheese. Cheese, guys. Cheese would be so legit right now. Like a grilled, oh my god, chat, a grilled cheese would be so fucking legit right now. Oh my god, like on some like sourdough bread? Or, oh my god, what if I got, guys, what if I go to like, what if I go to the store and I get like those like Texas toast garlic bread things, you know what I'm saying? And I made a grilled cheese with that. Oh my god. Alright guys, stream's over because I have to go to the grocery store. I don't think it would go well with peanut butter and chocolate ice cream. Oh. That's where you're mistaken, because I feel like everything goes with peanut butter and chocolate ice cream. So, you know. And Illumai is in chat. That's actually a pretty cute Pokemon. It's a cute little bug. Okay. So, this yellow one right here is gonna be one that I'm gonna have to bring somewhere else. Isn't pistachio almond? I can't eat that. I can't eat almond. Almond. You better buy some balls. You better buy some balls, driver. You better buy some balls. Guys, when Chaos comes back to streaming in a couple weeks, I think like 2 weeks, I think we should all like show up like super hard for him. Because he thinks everyone forgot about him. And that's just simply silly. Forgot about who? I don't know. Some guy, I think. Some chump. Oh, look, another guy. Hello. Forgot about Dre. My gosh, what a throwback. Guys, everything was just better in the late 90s, early 2000s. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's be real. Oh, this one might not cooperate as the others normally do. This one might give me some problems here. It should be okay though if I do this. Ooh, that's not okay. That's so very not okay. All right, I don't know. Let's see. Let go. No, it went forward. I always show apart. You should see a doctor. You guys. Are you misbehaving in my chat? But for real, Trum, usually if they say it's longer than 48 hours, you should probably consult a doctor. Let's see, this one is. Yay! It's only the best behavior for your... I guess that's true. I guess it's true. Now that we don't have to be PG anymore, well, now that I don't have to be PG anymore, you guys have all gone, like... You, like, skipped PG-13. And just went straight to R. NC-17. Woo! PG-13! Oh, wait. Holy poop. There's 7,000 Taco Bells in the US or all over the world? In the US, that sounds like... That sounds right. That sounds accurate. Okay, so... Excuse me. Okay, so... I'm confused. Where the heck is this Korok? I don't have this one already, do I? It's here. Wait, it's... Oh, I'm not the right spot. It's here. That's why. I'm not in the right spot. Okay. But there are more Starbucks than both of them combined. There are more Subways than McDonald's. Wait, for real? As of June 6th this year, there are almost 8K Taco Bells. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Taco Bell is the superior bell. What the heck? Where the heck is this Korok? It's supposed to be... like right here. Wait, am I reading this wrong? Is it here? And I have to go... No, because then the tent would be here. I'm so confused. Where the heck is that Korok? What? So where's the tent? The tent's not there. Does the tent doesn't appear, right? Like that's dumb. The tent fucking appears. Okay. That's stupid. I'd order some nachos from Uber Eats, but I'm sure the chips would be limp. Ooh, gross. Yeah. This article says 15K in the US and 55 worldwide. That sounds crazy. Hi, Tatiana. How was your stream? Thank you so much for the raid. Thank you for thinking of me. I wouldn't doubt more Subway than McDonald's. The healthy alternative, yeah. People are trying to be healthy right now. Straight to their parent company, Yum Foods. There's 7,200 in the US, about 1K outside. Wow. Does that include the ones that are like KFC Taco Bells? Tatiana, how was your stream? Did you finish your temple? Your Rito temple? Not sure. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's counting like KFC Taco Bell combos. Can I walk up this? I guess we'll see in a second, won't we? Oh, I can't. Just very, very slow. Can we build catapult and fling him up there? Yes. We could technically build a catapult, yes. Do I have this? I might. You did a few days ago after you finished it. Oh, nice! Nice, nice, nice. Welcome in, Tatiana. So good to see you. Okay. I am just doing some Korok hunting tonight. I know, very, very exciting stuff. But, that's what we're up to tonight. What did you get up to today in Tears of the Kingdom? What was your Tears of the Kingdom adventure today? Okay, so this one's gonna be... So it's gonna start here, I think? Alright, so let's go to the green. Well, welcome in, Raiders. Thank you for being here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Krista, or Pink Soul. Most people just call me Pink. I'm a variety streamer. I play pretty much everything, ranging from things like Lego games, Nintendo games, simulators, shooters, survival games, and everything in between. I have a very quick video that I like to show whenever we get a... Yes, I am following a guide. Whenever we get a raid, just to see if this is someplace that you might want to hang out, get to know us, spend some time, see what we're about, what to expect, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in just a moment. I am using a guide because I've already beaten the game, and now we're just grinding towards the 100%. So, but I'll see you guys in just a moment. I hope you enjoy. Hi there, friends. Are you a human being with disgusting bodily functions? They can't know we're like this until they're here. I'm sorry that you didn't get to experience the bus. This is what heroes look like. You can't do anything with human meat, which is kind of boring. Why did you hold it like that? Why are you looking so close?
I wasn't. I just looked down and I can see it.
Look at that donk. Put your clothes on. What if you just like collected a bunch of farts? What have I done? Are you pooping? I can't stream in these conditions. I have poopies for you. That won't and can't go wrong. Don't give me that baby. Oh my gosh, my mom. He's still rolling.
Eat.
No. I was already out. That was for the smell. I'm trying to make the poop.
Chaos, come watch us.
I'm trying to make sure we don't die.
I'm a big girl. I do Mordors. I keep finding these boners. Maybe let's not say those things on my stream.
Oh my
hot dogs. What is happening?
There's a deep rib.
Oh, what is this?
Deep rib.
Home. We home. Name every year in the 80s. I couldn't make this up if I tried. I don't want to fight in the poo. Where would Klefki's butthole be? You know, like these are the important questions. How do I know so much of Umbop? You did not just Umbop me.
I would play Yenga.
Yeah, I could play Shenga. Shenga. Go, bees! I just want to be beautiful like her. Is it working? I am cat. I can help you. He's totally dead. He's just standing there. Just because I was supposed to move him. What did? Oh. I look like the kid from Stranger Things. You can go anywhere on Twitch, and this is what you choose to do with your time.
You're like him, and you're like, yeah.
Tatiana, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you so much. I hope you're doing well. And I have made it to my destination. Alright, so this is gonna go where? Oh, and then you have to land on it. You can't land on anything else. Boop. Easy. Did towers. I tried one, but she almost died 2 times. Which one? There is, which one do I remember being difficult? Was it this one? No, not Typhlo. There's one that's like surrounded by goo, and that was kind of tough. Is it this one? No. Good night, Ark. Thank you. I appreciate you. Alright. So this one's done. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Alright. So we've got that one. So there's one right here. Oh wow, really? There's one right next to this mine that I didn't get? Okay. There's 2 here. So there's an end point, and then where's the starting point? Wow, the starting point's way up here? Wow, the starting point's way up here. Okay. Under the Laneru Tower. We have to use everything. Ooh, which one? I'm not remembering. Is it one of the proving grounds? It's probably one of the proving grounds, yeah. Okay. What was that marking? Okay, excuse me. Okay, so if I go to the blue, it'll drop me down to the yellow. And then I can go up to the green from there. And then Renown on D4 is so tedious. Yeah, so far I haven't done... Marbs, thank you! So far I haven't done anything of any importance.
Just resubscribed for 7 months.
Marbs, thank you so much for 7 months. How are you? Welcome in. How's things? Alright, so there's also one here. Hold on, let me get my... There it is. There's my bearings. So, okay, I got that one already. So there's one here. Okay. You're doing okay? Good. Been busy at work? Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Such a bummer, isn't it? Work. Gross. Nobody wants to work. I don't want to work, that's for sure. Okay. So, we're gonna head to these blue and go from there. Am I feeling better? Yes and no. I was gonna take a couple days off and just kind of rest and relax and stuff. But I came home from work and ended up taking a little bit of a nap. Which is like, that's fine, whatever. I got a little bit of sleep, a little bit of rest. But I was honestly just bored. Like, I was sitting there and I was trying to play some games and like, I was like looking at my Steam library and I was like, I'm bored. And I was like, I guess I'll just stream. And if like, you know, if I get tired or if it's too much or if I just am not feeling it or if my mood goes sour, you know, I'll just end stream. Everybody's supportive and understanding, you know? Alright, so where's the rock? Wow, way down there? Yeah, so like, we might not go... Well, it's already after 11, so by this point I might as well finish like the rest of the night and go to like 12:30 like I normally do. But yeah, that's what I was like, I'll just see how it goes, and if it's too much, it's too much. But it was more just like, I just wanted to be transparent with you guys, because I feel like if I'm transparent, then there's a little less guilt on days when I have to cancel for whatever reason it is. Like on Sunday, I just did not feel good. Like on Sunday, like I don't even think I wrote in the Discord that I wasn't streaming because I just felt so terrible. I was like, I'm just gonna lay in bed and watch movies all day. You know, so I need to stop beating myself up about it, essentially. And that's why I feel like the transparency with you guys and just being like, hey, you know, I'm kind of going through some stuff. My mental health's struggling a little bit. Like, you know, it's a little bit easier for you guys to understand if I need to bail. You're so transparent, you can see right through you. When I was born, my parents said the same thing. 'Cause I'm so pale. Hashtag Irish girls, days like that. Yeah, that's what I was like. And I feel like, for me, it's very... I feel like it's very important to be honest and transparent with your community. Like, I don't like when people, like, hide stuff. I mean, not that anybody, like, it's nobody's business, anything that goes on in my personal life. But at least if I say, like, hey, like, I'm kind of struggling right now, like, I just need a little bit of time. Like, you guys don't need to know, like, the actual details, but at least, like, you know, like, I might disconnect for a bit, you know, I might need to kind of take a little bit of time, you know, so at least, like, there's not like the, oh my god, where did she go? She hasn't been online in, like, days. You know, sometimes, like, I literally just need to unplug and just kind of, like, center myself, if that makes sense. You know? So, I just like to be transparent. If that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I'm probably overthinking it. Your entire back lit up? Ooh. Getting old, driver, getting old. Yeah, I just like, you guys care about me, you know, and you guys like to make sure that I'm healthy and taken care of and stuff, and I just like you guys to know, I guess. Not all of us are 26. Oh my god, it's like, it's almost insulting. Like, I understand that it's not, because it's like, it's very sweet. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, to be 26 again? Like, my creaking back, like, to be 26 again? Oh my god. What I would give to be 26 again. Okay, that one's done. Now, let's go... Let's go green and then red. Anxiety brain does it a lot, yeah. I have slowly, I'm not diving in like baby steps. Me sitting here exactly 26, like, are they talking about me? Yes, I am, Tyrant, talking exactly about you. How dare you? No, I'm kidding. I'm wishing to be 26 again. My back and my bones and my joints are wishing to be 26 again. And they have youth in their name. I know. Loud Tyrant Youth. I know. I'm crying. Yeah. What was I even saying? What's I even say? Oh yeah, anxiety. Oh yeah. So I have not like I'm not like diving in like full like 100% because it's scary and scary things are scary. But I have started the journey. I have started the journey to treat my depression, to look into my depression, to start therapy, to potentially, you know, most likely, potentially, possibly be put on some meds. So like I have started the baby steps required. So yeah, so we'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there eventually. Your hair turned out pretty. You had rated before I got to mention. Brosif's hair, I know, it came out really good, even though they kept talking the whole rest of the stream about replacing me, which is just wild, but okay. I love that. Mine were super helpful. Thank you. I got put on some anxiety meds because I've been having a really hard time sleeping. So I got put on some anxiety meds at the beginning of the month to help kind of just regulate my sleep, which has been good, except for lately I've just been going through a lot of like personal like stress with like my family and stuff. So that has kept me up like even like through my anxiety meds, which makes me feel like I'm on drugs. But you know, things are fine, everything's fine. Everything's fine. I just need to get back to doing that. I just put it off. Laws, I think that we can all be strong together and we can all cheer each other on from the sides because I think it's important. I really do think it's important, and I preach and preach and preach and preach and preach about how important it is because it is very important. And I've been just completely paralyzed with fear to take that step myself. So yeah, if I can do it, I genuinely believe anyone can do it. I have let my depression control me and take opportunities away from me and destroy friendships that were important to me. Like, I have stood by the sideline and watched my depression control my life for too long. You know, this year especially, losing quite a lot of friendships over it was a really, really, really heartbreaking but necessary eye-opener, you know? I was on autopilot and extremely depressed for a long time dealing with my mom. Been there, it's hard, yeah. And not to make excuses, because making excuses doesn't help in the healing process at all. But like, this last like 2 or 3 years has just been absolutely shit for me. Between like losing my job from COVID and my parents getting divorced and my grandfather dying and moving to Tennessee and taking over a year in Tennessee to find a job. So it was just like, I don't want to sound morbid, and if this sounds morbid, I'm sorry, trigger warning, but like, I don't know how I'm still alive right now. Like, I don't know how I didn't just like swallow a bottle of pills and just end it, because I have been just at the end of my rope for 3.5 years now, you know? It's just something needs to give, something needs to change. I love you too, Brosa. Thank you. How how does it, oh, like, how do I always end up talking about, like, really serious shit and, like, crying, like, every single stream? Did you just... what? Alright, hold on. What am I missing? There's one here. Hold on, there's one... there's one right here. Did I get it? It's your brand, is it, though? Do I want that to be my brand? It's a lot of huge changes to deal with. I know, Laws. And you guys have been, I don't know. If I didn't start streaming, I don't know what I'd be doing. I'd be going crazy right now. Like, you guys have become, you know, not just my community, but like, a lot of you have become more than friends. Like, a lot of you have become family. And it's just, I spend a lot of my time alone, and I've always done that, and I've always kind of self-isolated myself. And streaming has really pushed me out of my shell and out of my comfort zone. So thank you guys. How you feel is how you feel. Changing that is the important part. Yeah. It does make sense. I have to, like, I have to alter my way of thinking. Like, I can't continue to, like, look at the world like I'm this giant burden in it. You know? Like, that's where I'm at right now. Where it's like, I'm denying myself opportunities, and I'm denying myself privileges, and I'm denying myself even trying things because I'm like, why would anyone want me? Like, why would anyone care? Why would anyone want, like, why would anyone want that? You know? So it's been a lot of self-imposed, if that makes sense. It's not what happens in life, what you choose to do after life happens. That's how I see it. I'm super glad Chaos brought me here. I just want to give you the biggest hug right now. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening to me cry all the time. Literally all the time. Like, fingers crossed, will be crying much less once this shit that is my life gets sorted out. I want to give her a wedgie. Joke's on you. I've already had a wedgie since I sat down in this chair. The old Melvin. No, no. Ah! Oh, God. Back. At least a few of us understand. Some of this is a lot more than would be preferred, yeah. Ooh. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Some people get the mental health stuff from first-hand experience. I knew two guys that Melvined Death himself. Wait, is this a pop culture reference I'm not getting? I think this is a pop culture reference I'm not getting. No, I know, but like, I knew two guys that Melvined Death himself. Like, I feel like that's a pop culture reference I'm not getting. I'm also confused. Listen, I live in a permanent state of confusion. Oh, Bill and Ted. Yeah, okay. Okay, I get it now. I haven't seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 20 years, 25 years. I don't even know. I've seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure one single time. Maybe twice, but like most likely probably once. If you're really us, what number am I thinking right now? If you're really us, what number am I thinking of right now? Whoa. I wish I could do a good whoa. Just be like, whoa. Whoa. I can't go that deep. Whoa. Whoa. I can't go that deep. I can't do it. I'm trying so hard. I'm just disappointing. 69 dudes. God. I set myself up for that one, I know. I set myself up for that one. Alright. Let's go north. Have I gotten both of these? I haven't gotten either of these. Amazing. That's amazing for me. Okay, so there's one inside here. In Yunobo HQ. It's gotta be on it, not in it. There's one here.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go. Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bits. I am doing 100%. I'm at 64.28. I beat Ganon on Friday. Oh yeah, you were here. I beat Ganon on Friday. Or Ganondorf, excuse me. They are two different people. I just got lazy. Don't come for me, Zelda purists. Okay? I just got lazy. Holy, this one is so far. You want me to go from here to here, or the other way around, because I never remember if the line starts or ends there. I never remember. The low stony dude is a lot harder for most people to get. Dude. Gosh. What is it when it's like, oh, it's dude and sweet. And he's like, what about mine? Sweet. What does mine say? Dude. What about mine? Sweet. What does mine say? Dude. That was my first DVD, guys. Dude, Where's My Car was my first DVD. Isn't that pathetic? No more and then. And then you put it in a bag and you put it in my hand and I drive away and you give me my food. And then that's such a stupid movie, but it's such a classic stupid movie. You know? Like, I love when they're like, Zoltan! All I remember for that movie, yes, Zoltan is the scene with their tattoos, and what does mine say? Dude, what about mine? Sweet! Yeah, that's what I was doing. What does mine say? Dude! I feel like a Discord watch party is in order for that. There are probably some people in my community that are too young to have seen that movie. Which makes me very sad. Can I require my community to be like 25 and older just so I don't feel so fucking old all the time? Grind? Wait, is that the one with, who's in Grind? It's not Heath Ledger, right? No, Heath Ledger's in like the... Yeah, I know it is, but it's not the one with... He's in Lords of Dogtown. I know, Laz. I'm kidding. I know you're not. I know. Obviously, I can't enforce that. I'm just saying that sometimes you guys come out with stuff and makes me feel really, really old. Like when Zeus told me that he wasn't even alive when Shrek came out, it made me hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me. A Knight's Tale. No, he's in a skateboarding movie. It's called Lords of Dogtown. What? When Shrek? Yeah, one of my regulars who's not around anymore because of work. He dropped that truth bomb on us. If your birthday starts with a 2, yikes. Oh. Now I need to Google a skateboarder's tale. No. Wait, no, go back to Grind. Who's in Grind? Who's in Grind? Tell me. I know it, and I just can't place it. You forget the names? Oh my gosh. The one thing you had to do. Bam Margera, isn't it? Or listen, I was watching Kate stream today, and they were talking about Bam Margera, and she kept calling him Bam Margera. Bam Margera. And I was like, it's Margera. I love it. All I can think of is like Gleaming the Cute. What? I was like 1.5 when Shrek came out. Yeah, but you were alive when Shrek came out. Zeus? It was Zeus. Zeus was the one. Zeus wasn't alive when Shrek came out. Let me Google one sec. Ryan Sheckler. Grind. Is it like Joseph Gordon-Levitt? Like, is it, Hi, General. Adam Brody, Mike Vogel, and Jenison Morrison. Thank you! Thank you, Knight. I appreciate it. Thank you. So I have seen it. I have seen that. I have seen that with Adam Brody. Yep. Yep. Thank you. Gleaming is a 1989 skating movie with Kristen Slater. Wow. Throwback, Trem. Throwback. I don't think half the people in chat right now, other than like me and you and Broseph and Wolfie, if Wolfie's still here, were like alive with that. When that came out. Shit, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Can you watch Kristen Slater things anywhere? Really? Grind? I've never seen Gleaming. So what about... what other skateboard movies are there? So there is the Heath Ledger one, Lords of Dogtown. I've seen that. Like that was like a trend in like the mid 2000s, like 2005, 2006. Tony Hawk was in that one, really? I was really into a hockey player that looked like him in high school. Really? That's funny. My my ex-boyfriend, I hate even telling people this. My ex-boyfriend looks like John Cena. And people used to say all the time that he looked like a skinny John Cena. And it used to like make me so mad because I was like, no, he's like way cuter than John Cena. And then like we broke up and I'm like, John Cena is like way hotter than you. Like you do not look like John Cena. But he does. He looks like John Cena, but skinnier and taller. Well, I don't know how tall is John Cena? Brandon's 6'3", so I don't know how tall John Cena is. I imagine John Cena's probably really tall. But yeah, my ex-boyfriend looks like kind of like a mix between like Channing Tatum and John Cena. He was really hot. He was way out of my league. That's probably why he cheated on me. John Cena knows Cantonese? Wait, why? Like, I don't doubt that, but why? Why does he need to know Cantonese? Okay, so that's the end point. So then the beginning point is over here. Wait, what? So the beginning point's the blue. Excuse me. Excuse me. So I rated my boyfriend today, and that is too similar to like the last guy I dated. I was like, I'm gonna go puke. No. Oh, gross. I hate that. But does Ben Stiller skateboarding and Walter Mitty count? Walter Mitty. Oh, this it's like the secret life of Walter Mitty or whatever. I don't think I saw that. What a dick. I'm mad. Wait, you're mad about my John Cena ex-boyfriend? That man's an idiot. Ooh, are you talking about my ex-boyfriend? Oh, one day, chat, I will bless you with the story of how I found out he was cheating on me, because it's quite a funny story. It's not funny, it's actually really sad and traumatizing, but, you know, in hindsight, it's funny. I can laugh now, you know. I remember the short story, never seen the movie. Walter Mitty? Wait, there's a short story for Walter Mitty too? How do you guys like know so much all the time? You break! This is stupid. This is so dumb. I put so much durability on my fucking things already. Alright, where's the blue? Here's the blue. This is so far. I don't even see him. Is he over here? Oh, this is the end. Wait, so he is over here. What? I didn't see him. When you get 100, do you plan on beating again? I might. Actually, I might. Just because I absolutely loved... I loved the end of this game. It was so gorgeous. It was so beautiful. I loved the end. I might. Just for funsies. I beat him in one go. Like one life, one try, for all the phases, so I could do it again. I could do it again. Alright, we have to walk all the way back over here now. Break. Amazing, thank you. Wait, why are you fighting? The sword is so sick. I know. It's a Lionel sword, though. Driver, you're not playing this, right? You're full Diablo mode now. Wait, do you even have a Switch? I don't know if we've ever talked about this. I have a Zelda tattoo on my foot. And it's not finished, unfortunately, because first of all, I moved. So I moved. But my tattoo artist actually retired from tattooing. Where the hell is this Korok? She actually retired from tattooing, so she wouldn't have been able to finish it anyway. But I think I really, really, really think I want to get the Decayed Master Sword. Because this game has just, like, as corny as it sounds, as cheesy as it sounds, as cliche as it sounds, like, this game has just really, really, really affected me. This and Breath of the Wild. Like, I love all the Zelda games. I've always loved all the Zelda games. I've loved them my entire life. I've played all of them my entire life. I love them. But Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom just have completely, like, I just taken my love for the Zelda series and, like, taken it from, like, a 10 to, like, an 11. And so I have a Silent Princess already, which is, like, symbolizing Breath of the Wild, obviously. So I think I want to add a Decayed Master Sword to my my Zelda piece as my representative for this game. But I also, like, want to represent, like, Zelda, like, the person Zelda, somehow, because, like, she really, really served in this game. Like, she really served in this game. I can't find this fucking Korok. Wait a second. Did I, like, already start this Korok and, like, he's lost? What? Yeah, he's supposed to just be, like, chilling here. I have to have lost him. How do you reset the Koroks when you lost them? What? How do you reset the Koroks once you've lost them? I do. I think I launched this one. So, like, how do I make him go back to where he was? I think I put this one on a minecart and launched him. I think I put him on a minecart and yeeted him. So he would be over there, in this area over here, or he would be wherever that one goes over there. But like, they have to reset, right? Like, what if you've like what if like it's like me where I don't know where the hell I launched this dude. Think you could leave and come back? I have left. Like, I've left this area. So he's got to be back. He has to be back. I just am not seeing where he is. Is he up more? Remember hitting the pillars or something? Is he up more? He might be up more. Let's see. Oh, I don't see him. Okay. See, because we've left because we just came back to Eldon. I just don't know where I'm looking. They usually reset if you rest a handful of times. Okay. Maybe we'll rest in a minute, but like, where am I looking though? Like, I thought he was like just over here. Alright, let's see. Is there a fire? Wait, there's a fire. Yeah, right there. See, like, I thought he was like here. Like, just chilling over here somewhere. Alright, let's just see. Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. I think you're looking straight down where we're supposed to go and I hit the pillar. I know, but like, I need him to reset because I need to... I need to do that to him again! Oh my god. Fucking ostrich, are you kidding me right now? Thank you, Tulin. Thank you for killing him. Thank you for getting my revenge. Alright, so there's one here. Oh, I bet it's on top of that. Let's go get that real quick. That'll be easy peasy. Ooh, Leaky boy, you need to relax with all that excitement you've got going on. Ooh. How do I get up? How do I get up? Ba-da-da, ba-da. Oh, hello. Can I? No. Hello? No. Stop. Hello? Thank you. Yeah. Yep, yep. Okay. Let's... See, we've got some options now that we have a little bit of a bird's eye view here. No pun intended. Alright, so are you underneath this bridge? Betcha. Pop! Pop! Yeah! Okay. All Alright, so let's just run back up here real quick to Yonobo HQ, rest a couple times, and see if this Korok reset. And then it's almost midnight. Okay, we got till about 12:30 before I like really should call it. Okay. We'll rest till morning. And let's rest until morning one more time. So I remember thinking, wow, this is really happening when Brosa somehow launched water into their nose. Oh god, it was like one of those like you had to kind of be there moments, but also it was just like so fucking funny. Like I know it, like they did not mean for it to be funny, but it was so fucking funny. Like they're literally choking and like drowning on the water that they somehow inhaled up their nose, and I'm just like dying of laughter. The water coated my nostrils. That's what I'm saying. Broseph was literally drowning from the water that they inhaled up their nostrils. And I was like, yes, entertain me. Yes, entertain me. Okay, so he should be like here. Oh. Like, isn't he just like here? Am I like misremembering? Like, isn't he just like here? Alright, maybe, hold on. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong place to start. Like, I thought I put him in a thing and launched him in the thing. Alright, hold on. I'm gonna look. Is there a different map or something? Like this picture. Let me look at this picture. Okay, so where's Yonobo HQ? There's Yonobo HQ. So I don't see these. So it's gotta be up. He's right here. He would be right here. He would be right here if he was here. I didn't do this one already? I did! Oh my god. Okay, well, I'm stupid. Ignore me. Okay, yellow. I just hate that they're on the wrong sides. Like, no, like the map... Okay. I'm saying right now that I'm stupid, but like I can't ever remember when I'm looking at the map if like the beginning of the line is the part that has the actual like symbol, or if the beginning of the line is like the beginning of the line. So I just I guess you have to see the map to understand what I'm trying to say. Like I just never remember if like the beginning is where the symbol is or the other side of the line. And it was the other side of the line. So, yeah. It was the other side of the line. Okay, shut up. So now I know what side is side. The side that has the symbol is where you end. The beginning of the line is where the thing starts. What is this? Why is this so scary? Why is this just... Oh, it's a pattern. It's boobies. Okay, so you go here. And then... No, no. Okay, here we go. You go here. Oh, I thought there was one more. Okay. Yeah. Yip yip. Okay. Okay. We are at 64.48. So we have gone up 1% today. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great. Okay, so this one is done. This one is done. This one is done. Okay. All right, so is there one here? So there's one right here. Okay. And then a little further south. We got that one. And we got that one. And got that one. Okay. Okay, so that's a good chunk that we got. All right, what are these three up here? Here. Okay. So there's one here. There's one here. And then this one starts here and ends here. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, so it's a good chunk to start, and I'll probably actually, honestly, tomorrow will because tomorrow is my off night. I do have therapy tomorrow, so I will not be streaming tomorrow, no matter what happens. So I might do some of this tomorrow, but either way, we'll definitely have a good chunk to start with Wednesday. But I said I wanted to get in the habit of ending stream by doing my amiibos that I have. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna swap my controllers. There we go. And we're gonna do all my amiibos real quick, and that's how we're gonna end stream and see what we get. Because I'm still trying to get this stupid paraglider fabric that I want really bad. I want the Zonai paraglider fabric. Or the Sheikah one, I guess it is, technically. Have a good sleep and productive therapy? Yeah, we will. But we're gonna do some amiibos, so stick around for amiibos. Alright. Oh, nope. Amiibos, please. Amiibos, please. Thank you. Okay. Alright, so first we have... Who is this? I can't see. Alright, so this is 8-bit Link, which is the OG... OG Link. Knight's Broadsword, don't need it, don't want it. That's gonna blow up. Yep. Yep. The second I swung. The second I swung. Alright, this is Link's Awakening Link. This is the little cute little chibi one. Soldier Shield, don't want that. I feel so bad for the amount of Eponas that I have spawned into the world by using these, and you can only register one. This is Toon Zelda from the Wind Waker. Zelda usually gives herbs, which I think is so cute. She gives herbs and vegetables. Amber, okay. Take it, it's fine. This is... Ooh, this is Urbosa. I don't have her paraglider fabric, so that'd be really cool if I got her paraglider fabric. Like, right now. Damn. Damn! I'm missing hers. I'm missing hers, and I am missing... Rivali's. This is Majora's Mask Link. Ooh, it's a new broadsword there. That's not bad. We'll replace this. Okay. This is Mifa. Just want to scan. There we go. Oh, she drops fish, of course. Of course she drops fish. Zora spear, nice, but we're not gonna keep it. This is the best part, just like stacking all these treasure chests. This is just a guardian from Breath of the Wild. Yeah, I just want the chest. Ooh, ancient Sheikah fabric. All right. Hey, Kay. Hey, person. Welcome in. How are you? Hi. Hi, Kay. How's Minecraft? Excuse me, I have to clear my throat. This is Twilight Princess Zelda. Kay, how was your stream? How was Minecraft? What are you doing in Minecraft? Do you have like an SMP server or something? Yep. Welcome in, Raiders. How are you? Welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. Ooh. I didn't know that dropped. Let's go. Oh. Look at it. I didn't know that dropped. Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you so much for being here. Excuse me. If you don't know who I am, hello, hi, welcome. My name is Krista, or Pinksel. Most people just call me Pink. I normally do have a camera, but it's a bad mental health day, week, kind of couple days. So we're chilling, we're vibing, we're having a good time. When I end stream, whenever I play Tears of the Kingdom, I have 29 amiibos that I go through and redeem. So that's what we're doing right now. But I do have a very quick video that I like to show whenever we get a raid to see if this is someplace you might want to hang out, get to know us, spend some time, see what we're about, all that good jazz, and just kind of see like what the channel's about. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you in a moment.
Hi there, friends. Are you a human being with disgusting bodily functions? They can't know we're like this until they're here. I'm sorry that you didn't get to experience the bus. This is what heroes look like. You can't do anything with human meat, which is kind of boring. Why did you hold it like that? Why are you looking so close?
I wasn't. I just looked down and I could see it.
Look at that donk.
Put your clothes on.
What if you just like collected a bunch of farts? What have I done? Are you pooping? I can't stream in these conditions. I have poopies for you. That won't and can't go wrong. Don't give me that baby. Oh my gosh, my monitor. He's still rolling.
Yeet.
No. I was already out. That was for the smell. I'm trying to make the poop.
Chaos, come watch us.
I'm trying to make sure we don't die.
I'm a big girl. I do Mordors. I keep finding these boners. Maybe let's not say those things on my stream.
Oh my hot dogs! What is happening?
There's a deep rib.
What is this?
Deep rib.
Home. We home. Name every year in the 80s.
I couldn't make this up if I tried.
I don't want to fight in the poo. Where would Klefki's butthole be? You know, like these are the important questions. How do I know so much of Umbop? You did not just Umbop me.
Oh, we can play Yenga?
Yeah, I could play Shenga. Shenga? Go, bees!
I just want to be beautiful like her. Is it working?
I am Cat, I can help you. He's totally dead. He's just standing there. Just because I was supposed to move him.
What did? Oh, I look like the kid from Stranger Things. You can go anywhere on Twitch, and this is what you choose to do with your time.
You're like, yeah, then you're like,
Hey, my dear, my love, thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate you. How have you been? How's things? Telling a story, I went to Cali and got high for the first time. Oh, really? Interesting. Was it a funny story? Alright, so we're going to continue with our scanning of the amiibos. It is storming in the game, which is kind of funny. This is Super Smash Brothers Ganondorf. Meat. It's gonna zap all these treasure chests. It's gonna be funny. Gerudo Claymore. Nope, that's a two-handed. We don't want it. No two-handed weapons. Okay. This is Super Smash Brothers Child Link. Again, why there's a differentiation, I'm not sure. Person, thank you for that follow as well. I appreciate that. Be really awesome to hit my goal of 2.5k by the end of the year. It's been a slow climb this year. I'm not sure why. This is Wind Waker Link. I feel like just Twitch in general has like just really slowed down lately. Does anyone else feel like that? Like, is anyone else like watching less? Like, I feel like myself, like I am watching less Twitch. I'm okay dealing with some tough stuff for a friend and just helping them out. Aw. But, well, that was very nice of you to help them. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have been having a rough year. Don't zap my food. You zapped my food. You zapped my food. I don't even know which ones I've opened now because I've moved. Both of their accounts. Oh. Twitch is sending us. Yeah, it really is sending us through the shitter. It really, really is. Some of the choices they're making right now are kind of debatable at best. And that's being generous. That's being generous. Alright, okay, so this one. Oh, this is Daruk. This is Breath of the Wild Daruk. I think I have the Goron champion. Cobble Crusher, yeah, we don't need that though. It's such a cute little emote. Daruk Sandstorm. Oh my gosh. This is Zelda and Loftwing from Skyward Sword. I'm sure some of this is gobbledygook to those non-Zelda players, but... So we did get one single paraglider fabric so far. So hopefully... this is Twilight Princess Link. I know, we're almost done. I think we're like over halfway. I know, I have a lot of amiibos, I'm sorry. You're making this shit up? I am. I'm just literally just throwing stuff out of like thin air. Like I'm like, hee hee, these chumps will never know. This is chic. Maybe I'll get the Sheikah. This is what I want, is the Sheikah paraglider fabric. Give me. No, that's not what I want. That's literally so not what I want. Is there no problem? Thank you, Kay, for the raid. I appreciate you. Mwah, kisses. This is Super Smash Brothers Link. This is not a special link. I don't need that either. Why garbage? Just give me exclusive stuff. I don't need garbage. This is Breath of the Wild Zelda. Give me something good. No, I literally don't need that. All of my shields are better. All of my shields are better. Like, leave me alone. This is Archer Link from Breath of the Wild. Remember, there's like 3 or 4 different links from Breath of the Wild, which is wild. I didn't mean to say that. Well, I did mean to say that because I say wild all the time, but you know what I mean. Ooh, look at that knight's bow. It's not better than, yeah, it's not better than anything I heard of though. Boo. I know, boo on me. This is Rider Link from Breath of the Wild. How come none of these are giving me truffles? Ooh, Soldier's Broadsword? Not good enough. Okay, here's Rivali. Please give me the Rito pattern so I can move on with my life. Rito pattern. Yes, okay. That's 2. We got 2 patterns today. Alright, this is I believe this one's Ocarina of Time Link. Yep, this is I almost dropped it. This is Ocarina of Time Link. You guys have no concept for the noise you just heard. You have no context or anything for the flailing. Ooh, unexpected, but I'll take it. That's 3. Okay, this one is Toon Link from Super Smash Brothers, and then we are almost done. I think we literally have 3 left. Oh, it's a legendary weapon that I don't really like. But we'll take it. Okay, this is... Can't read. This is Wolf Link, with Midna from Twilight Princess. Which just gives me a shit ton of meat because, yeah, it can't spawn in Wolf Link. Yeah, that's right. I mean, that's cool, I guess. Thanks for the fucking crap ton of meat. This is Skyward Sword Link. Nope, don't need that. All right, last one. Last one. Let me see. This is Breath of the Wild Link. Just regular Link. The other 2 was Rider and Archer. This is just regular. Let's see. Let's see what we got. And then we're gonna go to Hateno. Oh my god, we got 4 patterns today. Let's go. Alright, let's go to Hateno and let's look at them. That's actually really awesome that we got 4 patterns. Never say no to meat. Listen. I would really like some Five Guys hamburgers right now. I really hope that the one pattern is the one I want, and it just doesn't look like it until you put it on. Okay, let's see. I'm excited to see these patterns. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I know. Rework the character. Okay. Rework it. Alright, so that's what I have now. The Sheikah, or the Zonai. Okay. Yiga, Horse, Choo-Choo, Lionel, Gleeok. Champion's Leathers. Okay, okay, it's fine. That one's kind of cute. Oh, that's Fee. Yes, I did, because I knew it! Trem, I knew it. Hylian Hood, Hylian Princess Goddess, Sheik, Zora, Goron, Rito, Ancient. No, come on, give me the one I'm looking for! Why are you teasing me? This game is being very mean to me right now. That one's kind of cute. The Fee one, though? I might leave that one. The Fee one's kind of cute. The Lone Lone Ranch one's really cute, too. I think I like the Fee. I don't like it better than the one I've got, which is the Zonai, which is just really dope. But I want something that's cute, and I want something different that, like, isn't Amiibo exclusive, I think. Alright, let's go find someone to read. Since I wasn't even supposed to be streaming. Oh, let's raid Envoy. Envoy's back. He took some time off for vacay, so let's go raid him. Let's go raid him. Tatiana, you too! Thank you so much for the raid. Thanks for hanging out. Let's Let's save our game. And yeah, we've made some progress. So what did we go? 60. It was, so we were at 63 point what? And now we're at 64. 64.4. So we're slowly making progress. It's gonna be a little bit of a climb, but we'll get there. All right, let's go hang out. Let's go hang out with Envoy, guys. Gunong, guys. I will not be live tomorrow, but I will try to be live on Wednesday. As I said, you know, I try to be transparent with you guys, so you always know when I don't have the spoons to stream. So most likely we'll see you. Most likely we'll see you on Wednesday. Stay safe, make good choices, copy and paste the raid message that applies to you, subscriber or non-subscriber. Catch the Pokemon on your way out, and I will see you guys when I see you.